Okay. We're back here. Last time... Yeah, we got a Towa ending. So, I think... my perspective here... is that we kinda... go back as far as we can and get as many Towa events as we can. We kind of did a mix of Towa and Shiki up to this point. So I figure for this video we'll try and get as many of the Towa events that we missed and see if we can change the ending. If we need to dig further, then we will. But so for starters, we have to decline Shiki's invite. Oh, sorry, that's all right. Then she gave me a delicate wave and left. We had a very charming dinner with Shiki here, but after my chat with the blindfold girl, I walked to the shrine. I have seen this before. I don't remember what I said here before. That may be. She's even pleased. We're here to please. With other words, she entered the shrine, allowing me to follow her into the building. After slipping off our shoes at the entrance, we walked to a room with a shrine altar. The daylight cast squares of light onto the light-colored interior through the window's washi paper. A small incline of steps led up to an altar with a candle holder inside. Oh, this happening early? Because we did... Getting a window into the shrine, the area of the steps that led up to the altar was flanked by wooden railing and 2 tall stone lanterns. An opaque Fusuma sliding door was at the other end of the room. The priestess went to a box hidden in the corner of the room to retrieve a matchbox and a candle. Striking a match against the rough side of the box, she made a flame to light the candle. Once lit, the candle was placed into the opening of the shrine altar. The flame flickered, producing a haze before my eyes despite the small size of the candle. I blinked and the haze darkened. Oh. This is a new choice. Breathe in deeply. I breathed in deeply, a sweet scent filling my nose. The priestess kneeled before the altar and prayed, closing her eyes and placing her hands together in concentration. Then the haze disappeared and the light ceased to wobble. The priestess returned to her feet. Given the beliefs around the stringless god, are you good at making new relationships? She frowned. No, I'm not very good at making friends. Would you prefer to have lots of friends? She shook her head. Having only a few important people is more fitting for me. A close circle of close friends over a large circle of superficial friends. What about you? I like you. I think people should like you easily. What she meant was not the romantic type of like, but my heart still skipped a beat. Probably it was because she was beautiful that I couldn't help but get a little carried away in the now relaxed atmosphere. Actually, I'm the same as you. I'm fine with only a few important people. Would you like to be one of them? I have more clients than friends. People came to me for help and left when they were done, and our relationships were purely transactional. I'd be flattered, but surprised if I had a lot of positive strings attached to myself. I see. Was she disappointed? By important people, do you mean your sister? She smiled. Yes. Could you tell me more about her? A complicated, sad expression painted her face. She is the other priestess. That was it. She didn't seem to want to say more, looking away toward the steady light of the candle, pondering on whether to ask more about the other priestess. I hadn't noticed another person appear in the room until she approached and greeted me. Hello, Keeper. That person, Keeper, gazed at me calmly. Welcome to the stringless god's abode. Has our priestess been taking care of you? Yes, she's been very informative. She always has been a very diligent priestess, working hard to maintain the shrine and save those afflicted by strings. Keeper smiled. One day her work will be rewarded. People who she's helped the stringless god touch are all grateful. I'm glad she's treated you well. Do you have anything you're curious about? The priestess mentioned something about strings, colorful strings between people that symbolize emotional connections. I hesitated to call the emotions false. Can you also see the strings? Keeper smiled regretfully. I'm afraid the only humans who can see the strings are the priestesses. Only they can cut the strings that bind humanity. Keeper glanced at my left eye for a second, her own eyes narrowing as if greedy for something. It's their burden. However, we are infinitely grateful to them. The priestess cleared her throat softly. Her eyes were slightly narrowed. Both Keeper and I turned to look at her, but the priestess shook her head at me, indicating that she wasn't calling my attention. Keeper? Yes. Did you need something? Thank you for the reminder. Regarding the upcoming dance. They gestured toward me to say that they'd have to talk privately for a bit and walked away to hold a conversation I could not hear. Without much to do, I wandered around the room. I found nothing notable. No torture devices or suspicious body parts. Only when I looked at the shrine altar, I felt as if someone was gazing at me beyond the candle flame. It's moderately concerning. For some time I returned to the inn. This feels like a prime opportunity for a dead end. Run! Get away. This thing wasn't the same as the black strings. Get away. This thing could kill me. Get away. Even from such a distance. I had to run away. Kicking against the dirt, I started to run. No direction in mind, I simply dashed to get as far away as possible, ignoring the creaking of my joints. I stumbled, nearly tripping. The sound of the monster was so close, I could almost feel its burning breath against my skin. I ran. I gasped for air, my body yelling at me to stop. My eyesight flickered as the oxygen burned cold through my blood. I kept running, so I could feel the monster behind me. Bam! Ooh! I crashed headfirst into a familiar figure, grabbing onto her clothes to stop from falling over. It was Keeper. She smiled at me. What's wrong? My nails dug into my palms, regardless of the fabric I was gripping. But my legs shook so much that I slipped down to my knees. I could hear the monster approaching from behind. My chest felt as if all my scars had ripped open. Now that I stopped, I couldn't keep going. My tongue wouldn't cooperate to say that there was a monster. Even though she was smiling, she gazed at me coldly. Why were you running? With all too human footsteps, the monster approached. As if taunting, it did not run, but walked, one leisurely step at a time, towards my position. What's wrong? She narrowed her eyes, smile twisting. Why were you running? Couldn't process what she was saying. Did you see something? Shadow grew over me. It stretched over Keeper, blocking out the stars. Why did you think nothing was wrong? Drip, drip, drip. My sweat? My tears? Shadow ceased to move. I had nowhere to run. Taking in a raggedy breath, I slowly turned around. A monster. Keeper jeered. What's wrong? Nothing is wrong. What are you seeing? There's nothing here at all. Why are you afraid? You should not be. Her voice distorted behind me before becoming crisp and clear in my ear. Shirasagi mana. Ooh. Yep, that's delightfully ominous. Dead end. Okay, walk away. Walk away, walk away. I think I picked Shiki for. Towa, help! Ah! The priestess looked at me with a serious expression. She gazed at me neutrally. You seem surprised. I hastily took a look behind me, finding nothing but trees. I was a little spooked by something while out on a walk there. Following my movement, the priestess looked past my shoulder. From her lack of response, she appeared to also see nothing odd. What are you doing here at this time of night? Interestingly, Shiki seemed more actively aware of the monsters at hand here. Perhaps she's doing something about it. I like taking walks here too. This is a nice place. Her brows furrowed a bit. It's quiet and lets me clear my thoughts. Couldn't parse if she was subtly telling me to shut up and go away. She frowned. You seem troubled. She narrowed her eyes at me with a touch of displeasure in her face. I don't know why you're so interested in that woman, but Mikami Ita is our older sister. She was in her teens when we were born, so we were never particularly close. What's your father's name? Mikami Yasunobu. This information keeps you out of trouble. I'm happy to provide it. That was kind of her. Thank you. I also want to stay out of trouble. She smiled, pleased. That's good. The conversation perceived as finished, the priestess made to continue her stroll down the forest path. However, that way was the monster. Wait, you shouldn't go in that direction. She looked back at me, confused. Why? I couldn't say that there was a monster. I didn't even know if the monster was real. I think I saw a large animal. The priestess smiled. I see. Thank you. You should also head back to your inn, then. I should. I returned to the inn. Hi, keeper. Back to the grave. Oh, hello there. We have our friends' names. This is an interesting choice. I'm just going to go with the opposite direction on, just for the plot. In darkness, Towa awaited my response as if it were as ordinary as asking me what my favorite season was. The thin one over here. I gestured to a thread before me. In the end, I didn't want to risk something important being snipped away. After all, these strings were my feelings towards someone. Towa nodded, tracing her finger along the black line. Okay. Bedtime. You won't come back here. Actually, I'm going to put a save here just in case this somehow changes Towa's around. You're still going to decline, though. Ooh. If nothing else, these choices might just be a, I'm gonna go with illusion to start with. Because I feel like that might lead us into a dead end. And then accepting as reality might be the poke that gets us into a better Towa end. Towa didn't seem to be bothered. She looked at the monster straight in its face, her pretty features reflected in its ugly red. My chest ached and my heartbeat became irregular. I took a deep breath and, seeing the conversation come to a lull, posed a question. It didn't change anything. We didn't ask about this before, did we? Your father's wife, your mother, what type of person was she? What type of person could give birth to Mikami Ita and these two girls? Towa thought about how to answer. My father's wife. She spoke without attachment. She passed away a long time ago. I never knew her. I heard she was a very business-oriented person, and their marriage was also very businesslike, even though the townspeople said that they were always very loving. Father raised us with the servants. His main focus was the shrine. Thanks to him, the worship of the stringless god grew a lot. It was always well accepted in the town, it hasn't always been so popular. A flash of sadness ran along her face. The head of the shrine, the Mikami head, used more of those rules than our father. She raised her spoon to her soft lips, gently pressing it down as she paused to think. She smiled. Keeper might know him better than I did. Keeper? I thought about that stringless woman whose age I could not determine. I had a hard time seeing her as a peer of the old man, that scrappy website. Yes, it's the same situation with that woman. You're investigating Mikami Itoha, aren't you? Towa looked displeased. Mikami Itoha is dead. Oh, okay, we're moving on. That's what perplexes me about Keeper. Keeper is, interesting. Based on how Mikami Itoha came back, so to speak. It's definitely the odd red eyes. I wonder if Keeper is somehow Yasunobu's wife, brought back by the stringless god. It's a vessel. Anyway, we can move along. Wandering is kind of a cheeky interaction, but Kami Yasunobu. She didn't look at the girls at all. Into his poor health, how special she was, and Shiki interrupts. Shiki is very not happy about us. Maybe we save that for... Yeah, we'll come back again. Oh, would you like me to cut out a string for you, Mana? Sure, this is different. Even I was surprised at my easy response. I wanted to know more about the stringless god. I was willing to experiment with myself to see that feeling again. I don't really understand if it's freedom, but let's do it. Towa seemed hesitant for a moment. Then, shall we? She retrieved a chair from storage and let me sit down, repeating similar actions to the first string cutting. Taking an invisible thread between her fingers, she met my eyes with gold as if asking for confirmation. I nodded. Then she cut. Blank. It felt nice. I hugged Towa for a while without either of us saying a single word. Huh. That's actually a really concerning change. Going with the big one, the big family relation. Gives us a choice to do it again. Going with the smaller one first. It's the gateway drug. It's the gateway drug to, again... That sentence died in my throat. That's an illusion. I didn't know. Hi, Keeper. She had no strings. Come eat to her? Getting drunk? Making a few mumbling sounds, she eventually lifted her head. I was probably also a little tipsy. Let's try cutting another string. Oh no. Oh, this is bad. Experimenting. Oh boy. She haphazardly grabbed a string and snapped it without any ceremony. Cut! It felt nice. Oh no. Towa smiled broadly. It is yummy. She licked her lips, the tip of her cute pink tongue sticking out. Towa frowned deeply, upset. Okay, we're moving on. This is going in a direction I was not expecting. This is an illusion. This had to be an illusion. This had to be an illusion. Oh. Okay, this is a breaking point. I backed out of the crowd, mumbling apologies to those I bumped into. My left eye hurt, twitching as if it were about to burst. No matter how many times I blinked, the irritation did not subside. I hadn't gotten dust in my eye after all. I clutched at it and hissed, feeling its throbbing against my palm. My eye hurt. My eye really hurt. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt. Wetness stained my palm, creating a strange, warm sensation. Unknown liquid ran down my left cheek. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't tears. I didn't want to know what it was. I didn't want to take my hand off my face. For some reason I looked into the crowd. Through the gaps in the fingers, I saw a person who'd been purified recently. He died. He didn't die. His body fell. His body didn't fall. Overlapping images pounded in through my head. Cutting my teeth, I saw his body not only fall in that transparent displacement, but also be crushed to pieces like meat under a presser. Visible red seemed to splatter all over the crowd against him. His flesh no longer resembled human, but rather ground meat. But a sole finger that had been missed bounced on the grass. It was gone. It was there. His human body intersected with mixed red goop. When I blinked, the slop reformed and rose. His body, a monster hatched. I felt myself going mad and dug my nails into my brow. No one else seemed to see. The person just died. He just died and no one else saw anything as the body stood, puppeted by something terribly inhuman. An angel crushed him and he became a monster. I was right. He had a fleeting glance of an angel. An angel? I gasped. Oh boy! Holding my left eye, I begged myself to believe that I wasn't holding it literally in my palm. I found myself struggling to breathe, hyperventilating as small equilibrium left me. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be real. I rejected everything that the golden eye saw. Rejected. Keeper looked at me with disappointment. What a shame. I rejected. She narrowed her eyes. You won't see it. Then I didn't see. Illusion end. Dead end 6. Wow, so there's 2 more dead ends. There are 2 more dead ends, obviously, but there's 2 more dead ends earlier in the story. What if we accept? This was reality. Chiki's dead. Kamita's back. And, yeah. This is reality. Again, reality. Reality. Just change the outcome. Nope. One thing we can do here. Go back to cut that string. Go to bed. We are very much experimenting here. This is reality. And that doesn't change anything. Okay. We have to rethink this here. We have to go back farther. How far? How much farther? That definitely wasn't a choice we had before. If you ignore this candle, not much changes, but it seems to be very much a signifier for certain things to come. You know what, just for the heck of it, let's accept. I slowly nodded. Seeing as I had a string cut yesterday, I found little harm in having it mended. Sure. Will your sister be upset if you do? That's thoughtful of you, detective. It's okay. She'll know it was me. She danced around my question. I didn't want to add to their sister's conflict. She reached out to the air before me, taking 2 pieces of invisible string in her fingers. Miming the action of moving them closer together and tying, she mended it. With a pop, a string appeared before my eyes. A delicate butterfly knot tied it together. As it swayed in the air, then unraveled the knot on its own, revealing a repaired dark line. Mending felt like nothing. I thought about that person again. I didn't like them. He who the string was attached to. So, that's it? Shiki smiled. That's it. This should be a black string. You can see it. I can't see, but I just know. She waved her hands before her blindfold and made a shh gesture with one finger in front of her lips. Then Towa walked over, coming out of the shrine building, brows raised in surprise. Nana, Shiki, good morning. Shiki seemed a bit listless. We are awake. And we move along. Hello, stringless god demons. We will perhaps just move along here. Giving this one more college try before we move on to... Like, typically when I have trouble changing the outcome here, the cause is something far back, far before I think it is. That won't directly affect anything, but... Nothing new is happening here. Just for the heck of it, though. If we deny... This had to be an illusion, but I knew that this was reality. Towa finished the dance. That's interesting, so if you believe majority illusion, then... Okay, that didn't change anything. Alright, we'll be right back. I don't know how much this is going to change, but... Do you know Mikami Itoha? This is from way near the beginning of the game. The girl made a stern face and frowned. Mikami Itoha is dead. She told me the same thing as the innkeeper. Taking a thinking pose, she nimbly twirled around on the even ground and faced me with a shake of her head as if coming to a conclusion. The blindfolded girl grinned. You're very pretty, detective. We just got to Newtown and already pretty girls are flirting with us. Just for completion's sake. Yeah, we lingered before, feeling a chill settle on my shoulders. I decided to go now. After taking one step, I turned back towards Mikami Itoha's tombstone. Nothing had changed. I departed from the cemetery. Time to go. Girl. Which one I said before? Golden Eye? Yeah, we did say this. Oops. This is where we died early on. Leave it be. However, couldn't get too carried away, yes. I think I went to the shrine before. I did go to the shrine before. This was a Towa event. We have to decline. To spend this with Towa. to see what'll happen. Not sure. Her smile disappeared and she gazed into my eyes. Fairy eyes. You said that to me yesterday. The priestess gestured to toward my left eye, my golden eye. She smiled knowingly. I'm sure you also have something you believe in. I perked at her eyes. Once I could see strings and wondered what was reflected in her sight. How did she see humans? Were they merely bodies of lines? The thing that there was someone else in the world who could see what I thought of as my madness. I needed a moment to digest my findings, my brain slowing down now that our conversation had come to a lull. I feel like we had this similar conversation once in the past. Although honestly, it was just a different conversation path. Ignore the candle. Oh, we ignored the candle and we didn't even get the option to run. That is interesting. Hi, Towa. Got this one. Go to bed. You do need to actually accept. She ties up that string back. Should be a black string. Though, imagine the dialogue slightly different if we had the thin screen cut, but move straight along. And yeah, that's going well. And we have to accept this reality now. We ask you about Chiki's blindness. Was your sister always blind? Immediately after the words left my mouth, I regretted my question. Wasn't that too sensitive a question to ask? Towa frowned. I slapped my hand over my face and quickly shook her head, watching as Towa looked down at the table, her long lashes covering the emotion in her golden eyes. No, never mind. Sorry for asking. No. She lifted her head. Towa's expression was filled with grief. She used to be able to see. We were identical twins, so the color of our eyes is the same. And there wasn't any reason for her to be born without eyesight. She smiled somberly. Shiki had the prettiest eyes because they were always shining. She's someone who gives me hope. Not like the stringless gods' hope for freedom and salvation, but something warmer that only family can give you. Towa frowned deeply, regretfully. It's my fault that she can't see anymore. She was punished. By who? The stringless god, and Towa quickly pulled herself out of her sadness before she said anything else. I won't trouble you with this information. No, I'm sorry for asking. She smiled. You're actually quite a kind person, even though you're nosy. Get that feeling from your strings. Then we'll move on. Or wander acts this time, actually. We've seen through here. Very curious about... Whoa! I stumbled for balance, only to stumble. Yep, a book sloppily thrown on the ground. I felt around the bookshelves, squinting. It's theological books for all the religions of the world, a few biology books, and foreign language books. I found an inconspicuous journal squeezed into the cracks. On the cover was the owner's name, Mikami Yasunobu. As I started opening the journal, a photograph dropped out from between the pages. Fell to the ground with a nary whisper. I crouched down to pick it up. finding a picture of a woman. Even in the lack of light, I could tell she was a beauty. The back of the photo was a love note with her name. This was Mikami Yasunobu's wife, Mikami Ita's mother. She didn't look like the girls at all. Hoping that the white of the paper would help me read the dark text inside, I opened the journal again. The dead man wrote of daily affairs. Nothing much. A lamentation on Ita's poor health and how special she was. Detective didn't read very far before a voice interrupted. The one person called me that here. Only with my hand to the wall for the light switch, I hit something that filled the study with brightness. I instantly regretted it, my eyes tearing up from the string of light. Shiki stood there, frowning with irritation. I saw an ice pick in her hand. No, that looked more like an awl. Considering the situation, the difference likely had no bearing. She smiled acidly. I don't mind you investigating, but don't do things that might get Towa mixed up with it. Is that a threat? Maybe. Shiki frowned. You see, my sister's a kind girl. There are terrible things in this town. Brows furrowed with anger. Shiki lifted her hand to throw the awl. I squeezed my eyes shut, raising my arms before my face. What in the world was she going to aim that thing when she couldn't see? Thunk! Hearing the sharp sound beside my ear, I turned to see the tool embedded in the spine of a book. You shouldn't throw that type of thing at people. Shiki smiled. I know. I suppose I missed. Let's go back to bed, Detective. Girls need their beauty sleep. Shiki tugged on my jacket and led me out of the study. During the bed, I had trouble falling asleep, but eventually morning came. All right. Ellie? Meet Mikami Ito, huh? This won't change anything. Oh, hi, wait. What do you feel about her performance? Hi, Shiki. Shiki's voice interrupted my unease at the monsters. Noticing my body move as I turned to look at her, she quickly tugged my jacket, pointing to her sister on stage. Towa danced, sword in hand, light upon her body shining. Beautiful. She's beautiful. And that's a given. Her movements gradually slowed as if she were offering her radiance to the sky. Her eyes seemed to meet mine, warmed like the sun, even in the night. My chest ached with reluctance for the dance's ending. The crowd applauded vigorously. Shiki watched on with a hint of sadness. I clapped my hands and wondered if Towa would even be able to notice the sounds of my hands. What at this moment, the night lit by her, to last forever? From the way that my heart fluttered, I knew that my ears must have been quite red. Shiki pondered. You really like my sister. Mm-hmm. She smiled. You see, you're kind of obvious, Detective. Shiki reached out to the air, fingers running along an invisible line as Towa on the stage exited the performance section to the hidden back. Taking the end of my jacket's self-belt in her hand. Self-belt? Shiki led me away from the crowd. Towa, congratulations. Towa smiled at us. Shiki, Mana, it was a wonderful performance. You were really pretty. Towa blushed. Thank you. So you came to watch? Let's go together. Ooh, at our cue, we headed to the shrine. Entering the building, we arrived at a familiar room with an altar. Towa struck the match, lit the candle, and prayed. Perhaps even the flames were excited for her wondrous performance as they flickered more than usual tonight, bringing about a haze in the room. My right eye stung for a moment. Bringing a hand to rub it, I wondered if the candle's vapor had penetrated into the blue. What type of candle is this? A sense of deja vu washed over me. Just as soon as the haze appeared, it disappeared, leaving but a whiff of sweetness upon my nose. Towa responded plainly. The candle is just a symbol of light. It's not a special candle? Shiki grinned. A symbol of light means that it's any random wax candle that can be lit. The matches are also normal matches. Sorry to disappoint, Detective. No, I was just curious. I blinked away the last of the fog in my eyes. Then I saw strings. Oh! Myriad of colors burn themselves onto the world, connecting people just like the black strings of hate, thin and thick. It gave me a slight headache even as I noticed a special string between me and Towa. Oh! After a casual conversation, I parted with the sisters. The stringless god has blessed you. Turned to my inn and passed through an empty entranceway for the innkeeper. I was also out enjoying the festivities that came with the thread-cutting sword dance. I soaked in the hot springs and went through a mundane nighttime habit before rolling into my futon. As usual, I fell asleep immediately. The night was dreamless. I woke to daytime in my room. Considering that my booking in for the inn was soon to be up, I contemplated extending this trip as I woke up the next morning. My wallet couldn't handle much of an extended vacation. Shoko had completed her task to the extent that I could. Now it was time to return back to work, the office I inherited and helped build up. Towa's face floated to my mind. I decided to make one last visit to the shrine, only to hear a commotion the moment I stepped onto the stairs. Trudging up the steps, lamenting the existence of stairs, I noticed a crowd gathered. They chattered loudly, shorter people at the back pushing to get forward. I looked to the front and saw a keeper along with 3 very similar people. There was Shiki, Towa, both frowning, and as for the third, she had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes that looked a little off. She was dressed in a long white dress, with a single crystal earring in her right ear. Similar earring to Keeper, similar red eyes to Keeper. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say the circumstances of her death, but if one thing is very clear, is that she was brought back wrong by the stringless god as a vessel for its power. Same as the way that Shiki was somehow killed off screen in the other Towa path and brought back as a vessel. Kami Ita, stringless. Dead woman was standing, breathing, alive beside Towa and Shiki. In the distance, her unnatural eyes met mine, filling my lungs with cold. Keeper's voice leaked through my ears as she made a grand proclamation to the gathered townspeople. Keeper beamed with passionate reverence. The time for salvation is here. Her mad eyes widened. A holy woman has returned to us, brought back from the dead. The stringless god's blessing upon us all. We will have freedom and light. We will all be saved from the false strings that puppet humanity. Finally, we will reach the shining world. Each and every one of us will have that which we have yearned most for, our deliverance from suffering. Dismissing the crowd, Keeper led the twins away to follow after becoming Itoha. I kept my eyes on them and walked behind them stealthily. They opened the door in the back of the shrine and descended down the dark stairs. I waited, then I opened the door, which was left unlocked, and started down the stairs as well. After a long descent, I finally reached the ground. I found myself in a dark underground passageway system, with rough and old brick walls and flooring. Lights lined the ceiling. A thin strip of grating lined the floor. There were plumbing pipes here and there. Not too far away was a monster. I pressed myself against the wall, holding my breath so as to not be heard. The monster walked away, the human body dragging against the ground as the black and red puppeted. Drip, drip, drip. I must have been patrolling, but for what? With the clutching at my racing heart, I shifted my eyes from left to right, ascertained no monster was in sight. Safe, I was safe. I was safe to check my most important hint at the moment. Attached to my finger was a red string, that surely of affection, special emotion. This was connected to Towa. I had to admit I liked the woman. I had to admit I liked women, beautiful women, but this feeling of like that grew to love was more than just a matter of her outside appearance. She was kind, filled with the softness hidden behind the blunt exterior. She worried too much, but I wanted her to be wanted her to be happy. This was probably love. Even the strings said so. It means at this point just... The blessing of the stringless god granted her the second golden eye, and thus the ability to see all strings. Keeping an eye out for the monsters, I followed along the string. I walked through many twists and turns, wondering if the string pathfinding chose a long route. The red string led me to a door. Placing my hand on the handle, I found it unlocked and entered. I instantly knew that I had entered through the wrong door. An eye looked out from the abyss. I stumbled into darkness. Oh! That's concerning. When light finally entered my eyes again, I found myself in a part of the town that I had passed by but not lingered at in any sense. Afternoon bathed it. The station, someone was already waiting there. As my shadow, the shape not quite like my own, with a luggage-shaped shadow companion, approached her. She turned, showing a familiar face. Itoa looked at me. "You are late." "Huh?" Itoa frowned. "If you truly intend to leave for the city, then you should arrive earlier for the bus." No. The person she was speaking to responded with words that I was not privy to. Itoa seemed upset. "I see." She looked on, accepting her loss. "Shoko, I love you." Oh, a four-letter word in English. I couldn't hear that very important word, but left her lips softly. I knew that this woman's gaze at this moment was much gentler than the cold depths I saw before. Oh. Kami Itoa was missing something very important as a human being, yet she already had another more important thing. "Shoko, was this the person you were searching for?" The dream shattered, and I met the eye in the darkness again. Oh, this is bad. A sequence of snapping sounds popped in my ears, followed by the sensation that all my strings had been stripped from my body. Mine went blank. Did this feel good? Oh, that's concerning. Something was dripping out of me. Not streams nor tears, but something very important was hollowed out, pulverized, and leaking out from my heart. So cold, so hot, so cold, so hot. Couldn't even scream as I crumbled to the ground, holding myself for some sense of reality. My fingers should have hurt as they clutched my arms. No, I didn't want my fingers to fall off. Don't fall off. I still had things to do with them. Head rolled to the ground. In my head. The eyeballs bounced like rubber, rotating to see the light. I saw an angel. Oh! It was golden. It had so many eyes. 6 white wings sprouted forth from its back. The light it emitted was bright. It was a beautiful thing. It was a terrifying thing. It looked at me, as if identifying a virus meant to be quarantined and then promptly eradicated. The angel warped, shining yet terrible, to begin an execution. A countdown from a number over 1,000 began, ticking with an unseen clock. The light distorted. It tasted sour, running up my throat, and tried not to puke, gagging on nothing but air. Why did I see this thing? Darkness was terrifying. The light was terrifying. No matter if I opened my eyes or closed them, everything was terrifying, so I couldn't even gouge them out. Numbers reduced one by one each second, causing my chest to tighten and my scars to burn. I forcibly tore my gaze away from that which stood in the corner of my vision. Before me was a strange room, a holy room, and it was a pit of darkness with no end, surrounded by monsters and 4 human figures. 2 of the figures were Keeper and Itoa. Walls were made of brick and stone. Light fixtures ran along them and lit the room. Shiki and Towa held swords, performing some sort of ritual. They appeared focused, thoughts unreadable. Black mist flowed out from the abyss, and at my feet, burning and freezing, yet so much like an illusion that my clothes and skin were completely untouched. We just tripped out fucking hard there, before falling into this scene. This was bad. This was very, very bad. I wanted even to ask the angel why I did not see those demons and this great evil. I found my voice. Stop! Both Shiki and Towa were surprised by my voice. The rest of the twins are running along the edge of the wall. Oh boy! At that moment the world began to distort, with the entity in the depth rising in a realm not like that of humanity. It was rising. It was not rising. I saw. I did not see. As if strings had been cut from a puppet, the body of Mikami Ita collapsed. Monsters all prostrated themselves to the depths. Oh, that's bad. Keeper also bowed deeply, her stringless form humanoid and distinct among the corpses worn by creatures of black and red. The stringless god will be upon this world. Keeper smirked. Here's to the end of a cruel world and the start of one of shining freedom. Rejoice, for salvation has come. Towa's eyes narrowed. What? Towa stiffened as she looked at Keeper and the monsters, as if finally seeing their true forms reflected in her pretty eyes. This is not good. They're monsters. What happened? Keeper glared. Be obedient, dear priestesses. Your roles have come to completion, and all you should do now is watch and be blessed. Towa was perplexed. Blessing? Towa stumbled backwards into my arms. Gasping twice, she pushed herself back to her feet unsteadily. She was shaking so much. Oh, hello. Monsters rose from their prayers and surrounded us, intending to prevent our interference against the manifestation of their god. Shiki was quickly disarmed with a quick strike from a sharp claw. Shiki, no! Towa raised her blade and maneuvered herself before us. Perhaps not intending to tear our bodies to pieces, the monsters charged cautiously. Clang! The sound of claws, teeth, and darkness hitting against the blade echoed in the ritual space. Oh boy. Smooth swordsmanship. Towa parried the monsters and sliced through their darkness as if it were butter. Human limbs dropped to the ground from the hosts. Her eyes found the weak spots, and she cut through them. However, the monsters landed not just one, but many hits that sent her tumbling back. We were outnumbered. On mana, take up Shiki's sword. Clang! The monsters quickly overwhelmed us. A well-timed impact sent Towa's sword flying out of her hands. The monsters approached, almost kindly. The twins both filled with despair. Monsters seemed to whisper sweet words of reassurance. All I heard was a cacophony of noises, buzzing, dripping, terror. They were happy, but what did I care for them? I heard the angels countdown in my ear. 99. That was it? Oh. My life was going to end in less than 100 seconds, give or take some factors on the speed of the angel's voice. Was I satisfied? Were you satisfied, Mana? Rather than to fall over dead and perhaps become the shell of the monster as the world turned to hell, I prefer to spit in the face of this madness one last time. Dashed for the ritual sword on the ground. Knowing the dripping tongue that grabbed at me, I stumbled and scraped my hand against the ground to take the sharp sword in my hand. Without stopping, I plunged down into the abyss. A horrifying chill numbed my hands, my face, my eyes, my entire body, but I didn't look away. Nor did I let go of the sword, gripping so tightly that I thought I'd shatter. I stabbed into the eye of the god. Even though I was only human, this god was still in another dimension. Gazing at it with those human eyes I was born with, I stabbed with all my might. This was our world. The light was for us humans only, so don't take away our beautiful world. And I cut. A string, a thread, one without colors. A painful black burst past my body as I saw the gate close. The one and only tether between our world and the lightless one snapped as did the sword. Keeper was enraged. What have you done? Monsters howled in anger, but quickly those noises disappeared. Silence. Dust blew by, tasting of the remnants of the monsters. The darkness of the abyss popped, throwing me upwards with a force not strong enough to push me out of the pit. Then I began to fall. 60. 59. Reached out a hand to a sky I could not see. This was the end. I had a good run. Closed my eyes. Suddenly I felt a sharp yank on my arm. Mana! Towa was halfway into the pit herself, holding onto my hand in desperation. She clung to the edge of the hole, beginning to slip as she tried to pull me up to no avail due to her insufficient grip on the ground. Let go. What are you talking about? If I let you go, you'll die. You're also going to fall in. I don't care. I'm not letting go of your hand, Mana. Towa, I love you, so let go, alright? I still loved her, even though our red string was severed. Affection fluttering in my chest still lingered, strongly, comfortingly, without any interruption. I love you too. The type of love where I want to spend a long, long time with you and be happy together. Do lots and lots of interesting things together. Barely even gotten to know all the sides of you, but you already stole my heart. So I don't want you to die? I felt myself drawn upward at a handling. Looking toward Towa, I noticed Shiki had also grabbed onto her sister's waist, pulling as to not let her fall. She has no strings. They're gone now. Probably because of that, I'll die soon anyways. The world doesn't accept people without strings. Maybe I'll even become a monster. That's why you should just let go. No. Shiki. My sister doesn't want to let go, so I'm not letting go either. I think I killed your god? No. I don't need the stringless god. I don't need to be a priestess. I just want to be surrounded by people I love and to be happy. No more arguments. We're pulling you up. Oh. And before my eyes, a string of light formed, attached to my body. Shimmering notes of light gathered and became a line, thread, string, strong and tangible. Towa's warmth flowed into my body, making me realize how cold I had just been. 3. The countdown stopped, and the angel vanished. With a strong tug, Towa and Shiki pulled me up from the cavity in the ground. We all flopped down to the ground in exhaustion for a minute. After catching our breaths, we rose to our feet. I looked towards Towa. You really did it. She smiled. Love. The string, where did it come from? Where did it come from? It must have been born from the strong emotions formed from my attachment to the world, even as the darkness tried to strip all away from me. I traced the intangible magic thread that floated into the air before me. Towa blushed. It makes miracles. Miracles. We were alive, and the darkness was gone. The realization suddenly hit that we had confessed our affections for each other. Heat rose to my cheeks. Towa resolutely declared to me, I love you. I love you too. Oh! Towa wrapped her arms around my waist, bringing me into a tight embrace. Really? Her pretty golden eyes filled with affection met mine. My heart skipped a beat as I looked at her, noticing her lips mere centimeters away. Yes, I love you. I loved her so much that I couldn't believe myself. She grinned as she spoke up. The in-laws are right here, you know. Shiki. I love you, Towa. Can I kiss you? Oh. I closed my eyes and kissed her. Her lips were warm, soft, and sweet. A joy overflowed from my heart with strong, undeniable love. I was the luckiest person in the world at this moment. And we reached a happy ending. Ooh. A few months passed since the events of the Mikami Ita incident. I returned to Teita without extending my stay in Shoko's hometown. After all that excitement, I was plenty happy to return to much more mundane cases. Luck smiled upon me with a sequence of not-so-violent investigations those past few months. Everything in this tiny office was crowded together, from the desk to the client seating to the storage. The daytime city skyline was visible through the window. Sorting through papers in the office together with Towa, I glanced towards Shiki, who had made herself comfortable on the couch. After moving to Teito, Towa became my investigative partner. Oh. Shiki listened to us with a smile. You two are working hard. Towa looked to her sister blankly. Are you interested in growing the agency and joining us, Shiki? Shiki grinned. I interrupt you two lovebirds. No thank you. I pity the other people here, especially if they're single. It's not that bad, is it? Towa blushed. No more kissing in the office. That did happen. She pouted, upset, blushing herself. Wait, no one told me about that story. What story? Hmm? We said nothing. She whined as Towa laughed. I'm being bullied. Alarm trilled in the Shiki's pocket, prompting her to get up. Giving us a little twirl, she brought a hand up to the air to explain. She smiled happily. Oh, I have a meeting with an editor from that S publishing company about the entry I submitted to their short story competition. I'll be heading off, but I'll get that story out of you two later. Towa looked on with concern. Will you be alright alone? No need to worry so much about me. I'm already more used to getting around Tato than you are. See you later. Lovebirds. With a delicate wave, Shiki hopped out the door. Thus the two of us were left alone with the papers. Sorting and filing, we chatted about the little parts of our daily lives, like our dinner plans. Ever since we moved in together, we started learning how to cook. The first attempt at a candlelit dinner went disastrously, in one part because of a burnt steak, and the other because the candles simply were not a good choice of item. Bad memories. Nevertheless, we've been improving our cooking, spending time together with her, doing the little things together with her. I was happy, content. These were the days that I wanted to continue forever. It would slowly change and grow, but I wanted to walk with her for a long lifetime. We're going to the aquarium next weekend. She nodded. Towa smiled. Looking forward to seeing the penguins with you. Me too. Let's go to lots and lots of places together and see lots and lots of wonderful things. Towa gazed at me fondly. Knock knock. The client had phoned in for an appointment yesterday regarding a case. By the hands of the clock, it looked like they were just on time. Come in. What would tomorrow look like? I glanced at Towa, my partner, in many precious ways. Although I traded my face with the client, I couldn't help but smile in my heart. Surely something kind with her. Aw. That was wholesome. That was wholesome and delightful and good. Do we get the yeah? The in-laws are right here, detective. I love Shiki. She's so good. But that's sweet, though. Oh. That is interesting. Clotho end. AKA, all of our strings have been severed, so we formed a new string. All of Mana's ties to the pain and the trauma that she went through forcibly ripped away, and a new string. All the good that she had found here, and all the bad that she had been through, all ripped away. And in its place, just the powerful desire to live. A new string has been woven, and thus, a new string has been woven from nothing. A new lease on life, a new, strong connection to life. Desire, attachment to the world. To the Ito sisters, the Towa who she'd fallen in love with. And thus, Clotho end. That's very fitting. It's quite sweet. I think also with that ending, we can now say that, holy fuck. That is trippy. In a weird sense, in that illusion, that ending, we saw this angel. Whether it's connected to the stringless god, it's clearly not connected to the stringless god. Just the stringless god we saw in the abyss. There. This is some other sort of arbiter of humanity, in a sense. Which paints everything that Towa was doing. Obviously, she had been deceived, in a sense, by Keeper. Not being able to see what these people who she was making stringless were becoming. But it wasn't by the blessing of the stringless god. In some odd sense, it was a punishment from God. So Anna went through some serious shit when she walked through that door. She just stares straight into the pit of darkness as all her strings rip from her body. Immediately stares into the face of God, and who says, "I'm going to fucking delete you in 1,000 seconds. Have fun." Maybe it's a mix of both. When you become stringless, you get fucking deleted. And then that leaves your deleted self to be puppeted by the stringless god. In a sense, that process of what happens when someone becomes stringless, which we saw here, very concerning fashion. Poor Mana walks into the ritual room, stares in the face of the stringless god, and just speed runs that aspect. Just speed ran the shit out of that. Stringless any % world record. God, that'd be a terrifying process there. So we'll end off instead with the wholesome Shiki, who seems delighted to see her sister in love. Wants to know all the juicy details of what's going on. It's nice to see Shiki gets to pursue her writing career, too, in this ending. Truly a good ending. A happy ending. A very deserved happy ending. We love to see it. I just love that. We're having a moment here, Shaky. That's okay, I'm just watching. Aww. That's sweet, though. That's really sweet. We're gonna end off here because that just delights me so much. Shiki is so good. I love these two. This is fantastic. This was our deep dive into the remainder of Towa's endings. So next time, can we fit Shiki's ending? Can we fit Shiki's endings and the remaining endings into one video? We'll see. Seems like we pretty much seen most of everything, so we'll just be running through and reviewing Shiki events specifically before we get into key Shiki path matters. But we'll see here. But alright then. Until next time, until then.